start to freak out, like hysterically crying, and I also wasn't the type of child to cry, but every single time it was always in that very corner of the room, and eventually I told my parents as my speech developed more that there. Okay, so years later in current time I have seen a lot of things about children and how they too have a tall man in their childhood, but this story that happened in my childhood is far more sinister. So ever since I was a child I was always very ahead of my years. I could walk and talk at 8 months old and was always very advanced. My home was laid out that there were 3 upstairs bedrooms. One was my playroom, one was my parents' room, and one was just a room for storage of some sort. I had always loved my playroom, and because I was so advanced I had a lot more toys at 8 months old, such as a ball pit and other things because I could walk. But every so often my parents would sit me in the corner of the room where my toy box was, and I would all of a sudden start to freak out, like hysterically crying, and I also wasn't the type of child to cry, but every single time it was always in that very corner of the room, and eventually I told my parents as my speech developed more that there was a tall man in my room and that he scared me. This became a regular occurrence and it sort of freaked them out a lot, but eventually I stopped talking about it and they never ever mentioned it again. My younger brother is 3 years younger than me, and eventually my playroom had become his room, so one night my parents had left him in his bed and he would have by this stage been around 2 or 3 and he was a lot less advanced than me as a child, as boys usually are. So that one night he had woken up my parents screaming and shouting and crying, so my parents had ran into his room and he was hysterically crying looking at the same corner that I always did in this room, and eventually when they were able to calm him down they had told him that a tall man has been watching me sleep, and when my parents asked him questions about it he had told them that he disappeared when you turned the light on. Keep in mind that the only thing in this corner used to be my toy box, and even that wasn't there anymore. There was nothing that could have been mistaken as a figure, and I had also seen the same exact man in the same exact corner during the day. It makes me wonder what it is that we exactly saw. My parents had never talked about that to my brother, and he also would not have had the awareness at 3 years old to make that up. It's safe to say that my parents still talk about it today and are as freaked out about it today as they had been back then.